All right, we're back live.
We just got confirmation Alex Jones will be with me at one of these shows this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know which one.
But you're not going to embarrass me calling me up there. And then
like Doug Stanhope did that crazy night.
And then some Marine started a fight with me because
you got really into it, and I think they were expecting a comedy show, and you just started going crazy about the New World Order, and it got a little ugly.
Well, I mean, Doug's like, come up here.
Called me.
I didn't want to go up. Doug's like, come up. I'm like, man, I'm not going to do comedy.
I had to listen to his message 3 times because he was laughing so hard while he was leaving the message, describing you going on stage, what happened, all the chaos that ensued, and how you were up there. You were on stage for like a while, too, right?
About 20 minutes. That's right. You even did the Man Show with him. You've done everything.
Yeah, I've done a lot of dumb stuff.
No, you've done well, Lord Vader.
Lord Vader, whoa.
Yeah.
So I'm the evil guy?
No, but no, there were some troops in the front row, and they didn't like me being anti-war.
Well, you know what? I mean, troops never want to hear that. They, if they're risking their life going over there, they want to think that it's for a noble and just cause. And, in that sense, their actions are heroic. But
I just don't want more coffins coming back.
Sure, of course.
And 1.5 million dead Iraqis.
Well, not only that. I mean, the whole idea of war in this day and age, it's a shell game. You're taking one leader, a leader of a group of people, and saying that he's going to protect them from another group of people that's wielded by another leader.
And the U.S. put Saddam in to begin with, told him to invade Kuwait.
Well, I mean, the whole conflict and resolution thing, the way it's set up, it's almost like there has to be war. There has to be problem. If there isn't, there's no way to keep control of the entire population and keep them from assimilating into one gigantic mass. I mean, that's really what people are holding back.
That's it.
The ability to communicate with everybody and the ability to think of all of us as just brothers and sisters on this planet, just fellow human beings.
Instead of playing us off against each other.
Exactly. The playing us off against each other, just going off our basest fears. I mean, that's what military and that's what government and leaders have been doing since the beginning of time. It's just, it shouldn't work the same way now as it did when there was no communication, there was no internet. It's like now that we have the ability to spread information so quickly, and in that sense you're helping that along. You're helping put an end to that. I mean, and eventually it will be that you can't trick everybody. We'll have so much access to information, it'll be impossible to convince someone that there's some people on the other side of the planet that have never seen them, never met them, and that they hate them for their freedom or some other retarded idea.
Well, Zbigniew Brzezinski in his Grand Chessboard book, Obama's top advisor, 97, said, we built a world government, but we can't get our people to go take over our enemies anymore because they don't see foreigners as their enemies, so we've got to hype that up in the media. I mean, they admit all this and write books about it.
The whole idea behind government, the whole idea behind, governing human beings has got to change, Well, we've got to realize at some point in time as we're evolving, human beings are evolving, and right now we're in some sort of an adolescent stage of evolution. I
think we're devolving right now.
Well, that's always coming along with it. It's because it makes it easier. Because when you make life easier for people and you don't make them develop discipline and skill, they can just drift through life like a retard. There's a lot of people that will just do that on instinct.
That's another thing. That's another thing. I mean, talking about you, Joe, while you're here, you also have been big into martial arts yourself and train with a lot of the people in Ultimate Fighting, don't you?
Well, I do martial arts, and I think that for your thinking, just to manage your biology as a man, I think it's very important to have control over your system, over your biological system. And I think a big effect on a lot of people's life is stress. Just stress from being stuck in traffic or your bills or just male stress, just natural. I mean, we're designed to chase things down and beat on animals and stuff. I mean, that's what we're here for. We have a certain amount of energy that we need to expire. We need to express. We need to pump it out of our body. And if we don't do that, it's very difficult to manage your emotions, manage your thinking, to think clearly and calmly. And exercise is the best thing for that.
I need to do more of it.
The best tool for just clear thinking and, just objective thinking. It drains your body of all the unnatural stress and allows you to look at things with a more even keel.
I agree. Let's shift gears back into politics, because you've been very interested in this Glenn Beck clip And we played.
Well, I was fat. I mean, it's because it's about Ron Paul, really. I mean, Glenn Beck, like I said, I think is an interesting talking head, but he doesn't say anything that leads me to believe that I want to listen to him. He just says, when he's talking, it seems to me a guy who wants you to believe that he makes sense and wants you to believe that, you know, he's a sensible man looking out for you.
Yeah.
And to me, he seems like a showman. He seems like some ham and egger, apple pie douchebag. I mean, that's what he seems like.
I mean, it does come off as kind of a hokey pitch, or as a $3 bill. I want to play part of this clip in a minute so you can hear it, but first off, your view of Ron Paul.
Well, I think he's the only guy that's saying, listen, we need a radical restructuring of our government. And he's absolutely correct. And he is what a real conservative is supposed to be. I mean, by all stretches of the imagination, I mean, that guy's a real... I mean, there's no way you can say by any stretch of the imagination that he's not a conservative. I mean, he's a real conservative, a fiscal conservative, a social conservative, but he wants people to be able to do whatever they want. He believes in states' rights. He believes that the federal government is completely out of control, that it's too big. He believes that, you know, we have to get rid of the IRS. It's a flawed institution. He believes we have to get rid of the Federal Reserve. He believes all these things that totally make sense. And when he says these things on TV, they laugh and they make it like it's a joke. Like, even though we know that the system is completely unfixable. I mean, if you look at the way it is now, just it's a honeycomb of corruption and just bureaucratic BS and red tape, and it's just God, it's
that's
so
what I was
gigantic.
About. That's my next question. Let's continue along, Ron Paul.
It's a business. The government is a business, and we need, and at the way this world is structured, it's almost like we need that business to keep running in this ridiculous manner
and it's
in order
predatory.
to keep people working.
Like a drug war. It's predatory.
It is predatory. It feeds on other people. I mean, look, the whole idea behind private prisons. I mean, that's completely insane. That people can profit off of other people being in jail. Well, if that's the case, then they're going to support things that make more people go to jail.
And they lobby to keep somebody caught with a marijuana cigarette in prison making widgets for them.
You're right, they do, and it's sickening. It's like cannibalism. I mean, it's really like a social form of cannibalism. It's unbelievable that it's legal, and that's all stuff that Ron Paul, you know, what he stands against. And any rational, reasonable person who would listen to Ron Paul talk goes, well, here's a guy who obviously understands the system, was calling the economic collapse way in advance.
30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's a brilliant guy, you know, and I mean, he says a lot of stuff that I don't believe in. Like, he doesn't believe in evolution. You know, he thinks that evolution's a theory.
But the point is, he isn't going to make you believe what and he isn't going to make you
and that is a true conservative, a person who's not. He's not a person who's trying to manipulate other people's lives or change them or bend them to the will.
No, he wants
of
the
his
state
convictions.
to get off people's backs so they can be themselves.
Exactly.
And that brings me to the next issue. George Bush campaigned to cut government, to not have foreign adventures, to not have wars, but his own documents that have now come out, PNAC, show that was their plan all along. That was a betrayal of true conservatives that drank the Kool-Aid thinking he would reverse what Clinton did.
Right.
And then it was far worse than Clinton. Now with Obama, Bush tripled the size of government. Now Obama's saying he's going to expand it even more. He's saying change is even bigger government, bigger state, but the people coming in and these youth brigades and 18 to 24, and it's now on the White House website, forced service, but it's a domestic draft where you do stuff for the government domestically. That's 180 degrees from the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. So segueing into that, what do you think of the change, and it is change, more of the same, but of Barack Obama?
Well, I'm definitely apprehensive of a bigger government, no matter what. I mean, a bigger government to me sounds like more possibilities for problems, but a bigger government that's not this government, you know, I mean, maybe what he's going to do will add to it in a positive way.
Well, I gotta tell you, he's totally on the bank. I mean, he is the man of the bankers. He got the banker takeover bill, which then they bait and switch and didn't spend for what they said, and now they're saying the money's secret. I mean, I'm just telling you, Joe, and remember, and I know you're a smart guy, the day of 9/11, it sounds condescending, but I mean, really, I know you can grasp this. Most people can't seem to. The day of 9/11, I came out and said it's an inside job. Here's the evidence. You were on the air with me.
I remember.
But I mean, you know, I don't just make things up. I've got just reams of evidence. Obama is probably going to end up being like Adolf Hitler. I mean, I'm saying if you think Bush was bad, prepare yourself.
Really? You really think that it's going to... I mean, but he seems to be so socially liberal, and it seems like he wants to close Guantanamo Bay, and he wants to...
But see, if you... Exactly.
Not
but
really?
ABC News admits they're going to open them up in the U.S. he's shutting that one down, paying lip service that he's against it, while opening more and leaving the ghost sites in Europe, the real camps open.
And what are these real camps in Europe? There's torture camps?
Oh, yeah. They're in Romania. They're in Latin America. They are in Jordan. They're in Egypt. They're in Poland. They're in Czech Republic. And it is...
Now, but let me ask you this. If you think that the New World Order is in control of the world and then they manipulate the world's government, why do they need a Guantanamo Bay? Why do they need to torture some
Because they need... Well, why did the Catholic Church need to have inquisitors who torture people to say they'd committed these crimes or witchcraft? Because they had to legitimize the whole suppression thing they were doing. They torture you to get fake confessions. Here's an example. 3 weeks ago, they roll in, 6 defendants out of Guantanamo. They've been held between 7 and 5 years. They were picked up different times. And they go, they're about to plead guilty. And they walk them in, and no video's allowed, but the press is there. And they say, how do you plead? I've been tortured. Don't execute me. It's fake. But then that was barely in the news. But that was in the news. And so they're canceling these trials because they've got to take them back and torture them some more.
Well, this is also the first administration in a long time that used mercenaries. Right?
Yes, and they're keeping all of that. Blackwater
is not only doing that overseas stuff, they're also involved in the war on drugs.